So I have a question for you.
Shoot.
I saw a tweet that I immediately viewed as stupid and like an insane thing to say.
That's most of them, I think.
Yeah, but she got some agreement on the post, so I was like a little bit surprised. She tweeted something along the lines of you should love your spouse more than your children. You should value your relationship with your spouse more than your relationship with your children, which I think is fucking insane. How can you like what kind of fucked up person are you to say that?
Someone who hates single moms.
Yeah, I mean that's what it was, right? She was being a pick me, she was being a hater. But
I mean, I think it's funny when like especially women who have this like vitriol for single moms. It's like, okay, but like there's a lot of ways to end up as a single mom that don't involve you personally destroying your relationship with a man.
yeah.
You know, you could have been the pickiest of pick-me's, but at the end of the day, what happens.
Oh, but for me, it's like, why? Why do you? Why do you think that your relationship with your spouse? You picked the spouse. You did not pick the children. They didn't choose to be there either. Like, also, that's a child that you have to care for and provide for.
Yeah, ultimately, if your partner leaves you, you'll go on to survive. If you don't care for your children,
They will die. They're gonna die.
So that's valid. However, I will say, because I'm trying to be in my devil's advocate bag. I assume they're, because she even mentions like this applies to like step parents. You know, because her example is like never understood why my parents would say this until I dated a guy that bragged about his strong mama always
strong in quotation marks, by
always
the way.
putting her kids first, so much so they pushed the stepdad out of the picture. Now the kids are grown and they have their own lives. Mama's retired, empty house, and single. And she didn't pen the initial post. It was somebody else who said the relationship with your spouse should be a higher priority than the relationship with your children. But
she's agreeing with it.
Yeah, she's agreeing with it. But it's like, okay, one, is being single at retirement like the worst thing? I hear old people have a lot of sex.
Also, like, isn't it sort of a testament to the fact that she is a strong mom that all of her children are having healthy lives right now? They got married, they moved out, they have homes of their own, they're starting families of their own. Like, they were able to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of your only job as a parent.
Yeah, is to make sure your kids don't die and give them a better life than you had. Like, and now, like, you know, if he loved his mom, right? Like, she's saying he did. Now she has kids to take care of her when she gets older.
Yeah,
they might have moved out,
fair.
but that's security for her as well.
That's fair. Like, she was putting her kids first, so much so that, like, this guy is bragging about his mom. So, like, if she needs help, I'm sure he'll be glad to give it.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, I'm not so concerned about this particular person's safety net. However, I will say, not necessarily in the text of something either of these people said, but it is a known phenomenon that a lot of people, their relationship starts to struggle right after they have children. And I guess, at least in heterosexual couples or male-female couples, that it's because a lot of times the male complaint is that she's spending too much time with the baby and not enough time with him.
Which is crazy, though. Like,
so, like, I'm just saying, in my devil's advocate bag, that this is not necessarily unfounded. Like, that there is some, there is some knowledge to speaking to, like, a child ruining the relationship between two people. Like, it's not like you have a terrible relationship to begin with. Like, having a baby is very stressful.
Yeah.
And when you don't know how to balance two priorities, it can mean that your relationship will deteriorate.
Yeah. And I could understand that. But at the same time, I think that you should always prioritize the relationship with your children first. I understand how it could deteriorate. But, like, if you can't prioritize both of them and you can only prioritize one, it should be the kid.
The infant.
It should be the baby. But, like, and I made a joke in the replies because she said something else that was heinous. She was very, transphobic, bigoted, whatever. and my friends were going back and forth with her, and I remembered that she had tweeted this. I was like, so is this the bitch who said that your parents should love you less than they love their spouse? And then she replied to me. I'm sorry, this was just such a funny interaction. But she replied to me and said, when a person like you raised in a single parent household, which is like, you don't know me. Why would you jump to that assumption?
That's so crazy because like she's replying to a podcast account.
It's not even one person. It's two people.
It's two people, neither of which were raised in a single parent. Yeah. Both of our parents are still together.
Both of our parents have been together for over 30 years. Yeah. But so I don't expect you to grasp how husband and wife are supposed to be. One, and parents are supposed to work as a team. You've never seen it, so you don't know any better. The dynamic changes if there is abuse involved, not bratty children who start arguments because they don't want to do chores. I don't even know what she was trying to say there. But like, our parents have both been together for more than 30 years. What the fuck? Why would you make that assumption? Why would you just jump to that conclusion?
That's so
I didn't say anything that would make you think my parents weren't together.
That's so crazy that like, I mean, like, I guess she assumed because you said something about, like, you know, that, like, you don't think this is the case, that people should love their spouse more than their children, that she assumed that means you come from a single parent household? But
yeah, like, I don't know.
People on Twitter really be, like, making shit up in their head and then just running with it as if it is fact.
She created this entire fantasy about me on no information, replying to a podcast Twitter account that is clearly operated by two people. But no, it was just funny because like I said, my parents have been together for over 30 years. They've definitely prioritized me and my brother over their marriage, and they still made it work. They're still together. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I've seen it happen. No, I've seen how you can prioritize your children over your marriage, but still maintain a marriage and still, you know, maintain a loving relationship with your spouse. But your priorities change when you have kids. Your kids are your life. And
you did this, you know?
You chose to have, my mom chose to have me. I didn't choose to be born. Right. So I had to become her whole life.
If you as a person know that you're not going to be able to maintain a good relationship with your spouse if you have children, you don't have to do that. Nobody's making you have, well, depends on the state.
Yeah, it depends on the state.
I was going to say, nobody's making you have children. Maybe there is. But for most of you, it's like, you don't have to do that. You know, you could just focus on your marriage forever if you want to.
Yeah, but that was an interesting interaction. It did make me think about things though. I mean, she's completely wrong. She's a fucking moron. Like, she was also in a Jubilee video, where she said that she thought that Amy Coney Barrett was a feminist.
No way.
She's a black conservative, yeah.
No way.
Yeah, she's Hotep black conservative. She doesn't have a big following or anything.
That's just kind of random. She was in a but her bio does say this is her third Twitter, so I'm not surprised she was banned twice.
Yeah, but also, why would you put something in your bio that people could report you for? Like, I don't know. I don't get that, I suppose, but yeah, she was apparently in this fucking video here. Do all feminists think the same?
She considers herself a feminist?
She considers herself a feminist in that she thinks that women should be subservient to men. And that's liberating somehow. I don't know.
Sorry. Well, this is a Spectrum. Like, the clip we're looking at is from a Spectrum video. She somewhat agrees that white feminist voices are too loud. She wants more Hotep feminist voices, I guess. Although, again, I struggle to see why this person would say that they're a feminist, but maybe we'll talk about the video for bonus content.
Yeah, we'll watch the video in the bonus and
we'll report back.
We'll report back to you. So now would be a good time for you to subscribe to the Patreon if you have not, so that you can get the bonus content.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome back to Taking the L Pod. I'm Rayvana and joined as always with my co-host and now roommate Jay.
Yeah, it's true. I have finally rid myself of my demons.
Can we speak really candidly about them today then?
I think we should. I think maybe I was thinking about this. I'm thinking my L should maybe be their worst transgressions against me. Now that I no longer live there, if they listen to the pod somehow, I don't think they would ever. But if they
I hope
found
they do.
it,
They suck dick.
if they found it, there's no more social repercussions for me.
Yeah, I think we should do a tier list of their most
Oh my
heinous
God.
actions.
Oh my god. No, yeah, I'm rid of my demons. Every time I say that to someone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, they do a little double take. They're like, "What do you mean by your demons?" Because I like to tweet about people who fight their demons on the train
bus,
or on the bus. Yeah, different thing. I'm talking about physical. They have
Literal
their own
demons.
lives. My demons don't exist to revolve around me. They exist in the world. Unfortunately, they've been released. I'm sorry to report.
Okay, speaking of demons though, and ridding yourself of your demons, I saw the funniest fucking thing today. It was an Alcoholics Anonymous. So like, one of the major points, I mean, it's one of the two words in the name is that it's anonymous, and it's usually supposed to be held in buildings that are discreet.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the one in like up by Boys Town. It's like, it's got like it's like a club, and so it has its own like abbreviation, but there's nothing to suggest that what they do at this club is host meetings for various anonymous organizations.
Yeah. So what I had seen today though was a building that had a giant sign that said Alcoholics Anonymous, and you kind of are not, just call it alcoholics at that point, because it's not anonymous. Because it's not anonymous anymore.
Alcoholics Club, where people come to hang out.
It's never like you could see someone walking in there and think, I wonder why they're going in there. You see someone walking in there and you're like, alcoholic. Okay. You have an addiction.
Maybe you could always tell them you're like that. You've seen Bridesmaids. The main character, her mom goes to Alcoholics Anonymous. She's never been an alcoholic, but she's someone's sponsor now.
How did you become a sponsor if you were never an alcoholic?
She's been going to the meetings for years, and now she's a sponsor.
I love that. I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
It's funny. I'm a big Maya Rudolph fan. Yeah. So
she's great.
She's great. She's funny. She's been doing stuff. She has her own show now, but yeah, that's super funny. It's just like, I just want everyone on this block to know that you're here because you have trouble with the drink.
I mean, to be fair, the sign was in Spanish, so maybe if you don't understand what Alcoholics Anonymouso means, I mean, there's some some illusion of potentially the people not knowing. But I mean,
in a Hispanic neighborhood raped by Cermak Market. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But since your owl is going to be comprehensive, let me start with mine.
Please do.
So I've collected my pieces, and I got 2 more rugs since the last pod.
She's got a problem. She should be going to Rugs Anonymous, Rug Collectors. We have a rug in every room of the house.
Seriously, yes. Every single room has a rug in it, and it's important that they're there. And they all serve different functions and purposes, and they really bring the place together. I'm sorry, I'm tearing up. But so I recently, yesterday, acquired a standing desk riser, and we're operating on her right now. She's beautiful. She's sleek. She's a little too big for my desk, but that's okay.
But more importantly, she's free.
She was free. So there is a tiny crack in the paint on top of the riser. Functionally, it works perfectly. It is a very small crack. Like, not bothersome, but rich people are insane. So what she did was just order a second one because of the crack, and then put this on Facebook Marketplace for $0.
So she's never used it.
It was in the box. They gave it to me in the box.
I'm shocked that she even knew what Facebook Marketplace was, to be honest.
Yeah. No, I mean, it was fucking crazy. And like, their apartment was super nice when I went to pick it up, but it was completely free, but it is humongous. It was massive. I had no idea it was going to be this big. And I'm out there with my little wagon, and it fit kind of on the wagon. It was fine. I didn't have any issues with it. But so my plan was to walk to the bus stop, take the bus home, hopefully get some sap to pick my wagon up and put it on the bus for me. So I had my bus card in my pocket, and I walked about a mile to this bus stop because I didn't want to have to put it on 2 different buses. It was just going to be, I was like, I'll walk to the one bus that goes straight to my apartment and then get on, get off, whatever. Because this thing was heavy. It's heavy as fuck. Like, it's not, it was huge and inconvenient, and it is extremely heavy. So the bus comes, finally. It's also just, on top of everything else, hot as dick. I didn't think I was going to be out this long. Sunburnt as fuck. Hella people outside because of Lala.
Are dicks usually hot?
I don't know, but I just,
Are,
hot as balls.
Are members with turgid penises, please let us know.
Are members with what? Please don't. Please do not tweet at us. Do not comment on this episode. I want nothing less than to know about the temperature of your dick.
Specifically the temperature of your dick.
Please don't comment on it.
I just, inquiring minds want to know if you have...
No, they don't.
If you have a temperature, like if you can gauge it with a thermometer, maybe.
It's not inquiring minds. It's one
inquiring mind.
It's not even an inquiring mind. It's a deeply disturbed mind. Fucking hell. Anyway, so the bus pulls up. I make my move, right? I'm going to turn to the guy next to me and say, could you please help lift this? And I look at the bus driver in the eyes and she says, no. I'm like, excuse me? No. I'm like, all right, well, now I know what it felt like to be Rosa Parks. I'm going to have to walk 3 miles home. I'm kidding. What happened to me was so much worse. So
at least Rosa got on the bus.
Yeah,
you know
she was allowed to be on. I was denied service completely. You don't know what it's like to be a white woman in a predominantly white neighborhood where this bus was picking me up from. With a red wagon and a dream, okay? Much like Martin Luther King Jr., I had a dream to take the bus home.
Your dream was much smaller in scope, I noticed.
But it was much more valuable in the real world.
In your life.
No. For the world. No, but I mean, so at that point now, I've been denied service. I've been discriminated against. And I have to walk my ass 3 miles back to my apartment, which sucked because I was wearing flip-flops. My feet were atrocious when I got back. They were so disgusting.
Why did you wear flip-flops to pick up an item?
I didn't think I was going to be out, because I took the bus straight there. I didn't have to walk. And then I thought I was going to be able to hop on the bus right afterwards because I expected the package to be significantly smaller. That's what she said. And
well, that would be good if she did.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe she likes small dick. Let's give her some.
Let's give her some agency.
Yeah, but anyway, so I mean, I was wearing sandals. I wasn't expecting to be busting my ass in that manner. But I left my bus pass in my pocket of my shorts because I don't know why I did that, because I had it there so I'd have easy access to it because I had a bag on my arm and I didn't want to be reaching into the bag to put it when I was supposed to get on the bus. And then at some point I put my phone in that pocket. And then at some point I took my phone out of that pocket. And at some point I dropped my bus pass. And this seems inconsequential, but this is the bus pass they give you if you're a college student. It's the one that lets me ride the bus for free. And it costs $150 to replace it.
Oh, I was gonna say if it was issued by your school, I know they do replace them if you ask.
For $150.
On a bus pass you already paid $300 on?
Yes, on that bus pass. Exactly.
That's crazy.
It's fucking insane. I am so livid because now I have to also go through the process of waiting for them to send me the new one. Which is like, it doesn't work in the summer anyway.
Good thing we live together and I pay for week passes every week.
Okay. Does that save you money?
Yeah. I mean, it's like I take the bus constantly.
Yeah.
So
How much is the week pass? We can-
$20.
What?
Yeah.
That's way cheaper.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
You could literally use a week pass every day for the rest of, every week for the rest of summer and spend less money than it takes to replace it. So,
Fucking hell. I mean, I have to spend that money regardless.
I mean, you'll have to replace it eventually, but I'm just saying.
Okay, but yeah, so that was part 1 of my L. And then part 2 was I had to pick up my rug for my bedroom. And she is glorious. Let me tell you what. She is a beaut. She fits so perfectly. She's got a great foot feel. She's a lovely rug.
Always great to start with the W part.
Yeah, it is good to start with the W part. And I mean, second W part, this desk riser fucks. It's fantastic. I love it.
The ends justify the means in all of these cases, but
yeah, so this desk riser retails for $400. I got it for free, but really I got it for $150 because I had lost my bus pass.
that's fair. That's fair, but you still save money on the 400, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great riser. But anyway, so then I went to pick this rug up from this rich bitch in this heinous apartment building. It was so nice. It made me want to throw up. And I look like shit because I've been running around all day, sweating. I did wash my feet before I went there though, because I couldn't face another bout of discrimination.
The rich woman looks at your toes and is like,
Yeah.
I don't know about this. I can't trust my rug to someone like you.
But so I get up there and like, I don't know, she's clearly really drunk. And she's
good.
Yeah, she's got a bunch of people over and like they all come to see me get this rug. It's a whole affair. And like I'm feeling uncomfortable as fuck. Like,
so you're a zoo animal.
I am a zoo animal. And this started with some strange guy trying to chat me up on the elevator. And
in the building
who lived there. I was fairly certain he was going to kill me. Everything about him made me think I was going to die. But then she was...
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, he was grotesque. But she thankfully was at the top of the... When I got out of the elevator, she was standing right there. And I was able to get away from him. But so I get into her apartment. Again, I am a zoo animal. They are observing me with this rug. Because she gives me a little rug for free and then the big rug. And the little rug kind of fit in my bag inconveniently. And then they're like, well, she was like, my boyfriend, who's there watching for whatever reason, he can help you. He can take it down to your car. And I was like, oh, I'm going to take the bus. And they were like, like I had just said something illegal. I was like, what?
She just uttered a slur in my living room.
It's like, what? And they were like, you can't, how are you going to take the bus? You have to go so far. Just assuming I couldn't live anywhere near her because it's too expensive. Correctly assuming that. But also,
she knows nobody who lives within a 5-mile radius takes a bus.
I looked it up afterwards. Those apartments are $4,500 a month for 2 bedrooms.
Wow. I'm always shocked when I see $2,000 for 2 bedrooms. I'm
$4,500
like, wow, y'all live like this?
$100 a month. This is fucking insane.
I'm sure she gets a bunch of crazy amenities. I watched a YouTube video.
Oh, they have an indoor pool there and like an indoor track.
No, I watched a YouTube video the other day that was like somebody who didn't live in Chicago, but who came here to like tour luxury apartments. I don't even think they were trying to buy one. I think they just wanted to like film the like real estate end of like, okay, this is what their pitch is. And some of those like high-end apartments like downtown or whatever, they get like crazy amenities. Like the building will break their neck for you. They're like, let me shoot a busboy in the face if you ask for it. Like,
no, I mean, it was insane, but it was a very nice building. And then, but yeah, so then they were like, you can't take the bus. And I was like, well, I have to take the bus because I didn't realize I forgot my bus, or I lost my bus pass at this point. And I Ubered there just because I needed to pick it up before a certain time and there's no way I could bus there correctly.
They should have called you an Uber home.
I wish they had, but no. So then he was like, okay, well, here you go. And like lays the rug over my shoulder. And then they just send me on they all stare at me as I leave. And I'm like,
oh, look at the little pore.
Yeah, like I was a fucking creature, like a mistake that had wandered up there. But I almost got away without paying because I was like, they put it on my shoulder and I was like, okay, thank you. And she was like, oh, wait, Venmo. And I was like, fuck. I thought I was going to be able to get out with this rug for free. But then I get downstairs and I start making my way. I walk 6 city blocks to the bus stop. It's hard, okay? This rug is heavy as shit. But and then I get to the bus stop, bus pulls up. I'm like fumbling for my card. Lo and behold, it's not there. So now I gotta wait for my Uber because I got to Uber home. How the fuck else am I gonna get home? And while I'm waiting for the Uber, someone throws a basketball at my head. And they had good aim because it connected. And he just looks, he's wearing a bucket hat. Like, I don't know if it's some performance art piece. He's smiling at me. And I was like, if you don't, I am going to put you inside this rug and throw you into Lake Michigan if you don't get the fuck away from me right now.
Y'all remember that scene from Brie Larson's The Room?
Oh my
How
God.
she rolls her son in the rug. That's gonna be you, Sonny.
She was bad, man. It was a bad. But then, you know, the day got better. You moved in. We got drinks. Things had a uptick afterwards. My rug is fantastic. It really brings my room together. So, I mean, all in all, it sucked, but I got some
bag.
It was a mixed bag of a day. Could some W's, some L's.
Yeah, we did get some fire ass vegetarian food that night.
Yeah, we did. It was delicious.
It was really good. So for me, you guys maybe have been waiting for this because I know some of you that know me or go to events with me or whatever have heard the stories over the past over the past weeks of my struggles with the demons. And I didn't always call them the demons. When we initially started to when we initially ventured out, I wouldn't describe myself as close friends with either of them, but one of them I used to work with and we went to college together. And so I knew that they got along with me and I got along with them. I'd gone to a few parties of theirs. Like, there was a pretty, even now, I don't feel that negatively about this person. But there was an unknown element. Someone I had never met who knew the person I went to college with / I used to be a coworker of mine because of they matched on Tinder. Yeah, well, they matched on Tinder and went on a date, I guess, and then it didn't go anywhere, but they decided to be friends / weed smoking buddies, you know. They kept in contact.
Yeah.
At the time, this person was in art school. They dropped out.
High prospects.
They either dropped out or took a leave of absence or something, but I mean, we
dropped out of art school.
I guess so. They used to work part-time and go to art school, but they hadn't gone back the whole time we were living together. So if it's a leave of absence, I assume it's
Permanent.
Either they're going back in the fall or it's permanent. So
It's, just a leave at that point.
right. And so the person I went to college with is like, because initially it was going to be me, that person, and their partner. But at the time that we were going to move in together, they had a little crisis with their partner. Like, the person I knew wanted to be polyamorous.
Okay.
But the partner reacted very poorly to that suggestion.
Okay, 1 second. I just, for my clarification's sake, so you lived with a man and an NB. Who had the partner, the man or the NB?
The NB.
Okay.
So the person with
So let's refer to them. NB is Sock, and then the other one is Bill, because that's just we'll name them
sure.
Sock and Bill.
Yeah, so Sock's partner Joe,
Okay.
with dyed red hair, which somewhat relevant.
It's the same partner.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, they got back together. So Sock's partner Joe did not react very well to Sock saying, "Hey, I want to be polyamorous, and I think that's not going to jive with you. I think that's going to hurt you. So I think we should separate." And Sock had kind of come to this conclusion, right, on behalf of Joe. On behalf of Joe, Sock had come to this conclusion that they should separate because of their desire to be polyamorous and Joe's desire to be monogamous.
Yeah.
And Joe at the time was living with Sock at their old apartment. I guess on mid terms with their parents, probably the same as me, where it's like you could go back home and live with your parents. They're not going to say no, but you don't have the most fantastic of a relationship with them historically. And at the time, I think Joe was unemployed as well. And Sock had a job. Sock was like supporting the partner and their mom.
Oh.
Yeah. Sock was like paying for because their mom was building a house in Barbados. And so Sock was sending their mom money. And again, they were supporting a unemployed partner as well. It was a whole thing, but they had a good job. So it was fine for them. And at the time that we had this long conversation, just the two of us in our empty apartment, and they made the decision to break up with their partner, later got back together. But the rogue element was the art student. We didn't know each other in advance. I called him on the phone and we seemed like the vibes were fine. And when it came time to like move in, there were 2 weeks before, like my lease with my old roommate, who was an angel on this earth.
And we stan him.
We stan my old roommate. I hope only the best for him. Like, I hope he was a medical student. He was just so precious, so good. Would like make me food when I was upset.
What a sweetheart.
Like, for him, his love language was just like cooking for people as like a thank you for this favor you did me, or sorry you're feeling bad today, or I'm making a request for you and I would like to offer you food in return. Just the best. So I move in with these two, and for the first 2 weeks I was living with the one I didn't know because the lease didn't come up until mid-August. I moved out of my old place at the end of July. And it was fine. The first 2 weeks that I lived with Bill, it was fine. Everything went well. And I was like, okay, yeah, we're pretty chill. Like we don't fuck with each other like super heavy or anything. Like we don't talk all the time, but like every so often we'll run into each other and have like a long, deep conversation. And then we will abscond to our own territories. When it was just the two of us, I was like, I'm kind of a carer. Yeah. So I was doing the dishes all the time. I was like, I was just like, oh, I got groceries. If you want to, you want to eat this, or like, I'm cooking right now. Do you want to eat this? Whatever.
Which he did not end up deserving that at all.
But for those first 2 weeks where it was just the two of us, like we were having a good time. Like it was fine. Like I was like, I fuck with this person, to be honest. And he let me ride on his little Vespa.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. That was when I think I've said on the pod before that I like the idea of motorcycles and I would love to ride on a motorcycle one day. It's because of the experience I had riding on his little like moped or whatever. It was so fucking fun. I was like, this is awesome. Just like riding bitch on a moped, but like it was great. And so we move in together, and immediately the vibes start to shift. The two that when, like I said, they're not even like, I don't know that I would have described them as better friends with each other than either of them were with me. Obviously, one of them I didn't know very well. Our linchpin or whatever was definitely the person I went to college with. Our hinge was that person. But ultimately, I knew that person for, years.
Yeah.
We not only... Yeah, so Sock and I not only went to school together, we were both in Greek life together. We were coworkers for at least 2 years. We had many mutual friends, Sock and I. So Sock invited me to their birthday party. The year before, like the year that we moved in together. Like, and I made them a sangria. Like it was a whole thing. But quickly after we moved in, because I worked a lot on my own and I have several jobs, so I'm either working from home or as soon as I finish work, I'm out of the house.
Which is just a gentle nudge. So if you want Jay to have less jobs, sub to the Patreon.
Sub to the Patreon. Or if you feel bad that Ray lost her Venture card, sub to the Patreon.
Sub to the Patreon. Please sub to the Patreon.
And we love all of our current patrons, of course.
And thank you for continuing to subscribe and support the podcast. Anyway, back to your demons.
Yeah. So initially it was like, I have a lot to do, so I'm not there very often. And it very quickly became the case that the other two, because they were home all day, constantly
unemployed.
At the time when we moved in, they both had jobs. One was working part-time, one was working from home, but like didn't have a ton going on. Like would occasionally leave the house, but both of them were home more than I was. They would do little things around the house constantly. And so they would meet up and talk to each other. And it very quickly became so we've been thinking, sort of situation. Imagine living with a couple that has a lot of specifications that you are not meeting. And that was just the vibe for several months. And we tried to overcome it. We tried to have, conversations and house meetings or whatever to like get on the same page, because they couldn't just say things that were bothering them when it happened. They would bottle it up and talk to each other about it and then come and talk to me, and it was like an ambush. So that was shitty.
Which, like, the things they had concerns about were never valid anyway. Like, one time it was just that the laundry room door was locked. You were waiting to do laundry and left a bag with laundry detergent in it in the living room for a day. Yeah, like it was the most benign bullshit that they would create this.
They would create this like this, and they'd be like,
hey, I hated that when I lived with my bitch roommate. It was always, hey, and I would be like, hey, I'm gonna shoot you in your head. I'm gonna put a bullet between your eyes.
And it got to the point where we stopped talking to each other entirely, casually, right? So before it was like the ratio of complaints to casual conversation was like medium, It's like when I saw them, I would say hi, and at least the one I went to college with, we would continue to have pleasant conversations, and it was fine. But then the ratio got super fucked. It was like anytime they would see me, it would be like complaint, and to the point where,
which like is insane because of all the egregious things they would do to you. So like if I could just,
my problem is that I am not somebody who likes to, I will take a lot, right? And I think I described this to you once before. My problem with them was that, I think I said this to somebody at a party once while I was like, I got this really egregious text that ruined my night. And I was like in this weird funk, and somebody comforted me while I was at like a game night or something. But it ended up being fine.
Yeah.
And she was really helpful. But my problem fundamentally is that my threshold for annoying things someone I live with can do is really high. Like leaving stuff around or whatever, or anything that's like small and like could be potentially annoying, like, or like leaving dishes in the sink for a long time, or like things normal people experience when they're living with another person and could potentially find annoying. I don't. I'm like, okay, I will move it for you because I love you. And I care about your well-being more than I care about nagging you about things that ultimately don't cut into my day at all.
See, what I'll do is I will make a big show of it. I have to like, I guess I'll just put this away. But I mean, like, I was gonna do it no matter what, and like, it's just me being a bit.
Like, I'm somebody who, like, I do not mind cleaning up after somebody. I don't mind helping them out with something if they seem to be struggling, whatever. Like, my threshold for like what you have to do to be on my shit list is really high. And the thing is, I won't mention it either. I'm like, I will only, like, I'm a good communicator, but I will only mention something if it like genuinely bothers me. And there's very few things that genuinely bother me. Most things I'm like, I'll take that on the nose, whatever. Like, it's like, this is slightly inconvenient for me, but I don't give a fuck, really. Like, like in my heart of hearts, I don't care.
Yeah. Okay, so like getting to the tier list, let me just, because I have heard these stories before, so let me say what I think the top egregious actions were, and then you and I can get into the nitty gritty of it.
For sure.
So I'm just gonna name them all, and then we'll go one by one. So the first one is the bathroom situation.
Yes.
The jobless bathroom situation. Second is forks.
Yes.
And Momgate. Oh my God. This is Barbados mom, and we'll get into this in a minute. But third is utilities.
Yep. For sure.
And then the fourth is the air mattress.
For sure.
Okay, so let's start with the bathroom, because you, at a certain point,
that's got to be the lowest on the list.
But it matters because
it's the most annoying to me. But ultimately, like, there's a certain aspect of that which like is unreasonable to assume that it would not be a problem.
Yeah. So this was a 3-bedroom apartment. It is a very big space. I've been there a couple times. It's great.
So my old apartment was really big. It was really nice. Like the apartment itself, like was, I mean, it was in like a kind of nowhere area, but like it was big. It was nice. It was spacious.
It was cheap.
Had
a nice big porch too.
Nice big porch. It had a front side and a back side. We had this big courtyard. We had our own alleyway. Like it was like the apartment itself, I would still recommend. Like if people came to tour it or whatever, I'm like, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it only had one bathroom.
Unfortunately, it was a 3-bedroom, 1 bathroom.
It was occupied by one person who had a job, because she mentioned they had jobs when they moved in, Sock and Bill, but strategically became unemployed at the same time to annoy Jay, I think, and like would hog the bathroom at inconvenient times.
Yes, both of my roommates quit their jobs in the fall of 2021,
which is insane, because it's like they moved in and then they were like, let's get unemployed.
We all moved in August. By November/December, they were both jobless. But that being said, they were planned jobless. So for a while, they both had savings that they were dipping into. One of them made a lot of money pre-job loss. So they were hoarding away a lot of money for savings. Which one,
Sock or Bill?
Sock.
Okay. Yeah, Sock, I didn't think it was the art student.
Sock is an engineer. When I say we went to the same school, that school was an engineering school.
Yeah.
So Sock was an engineer and was kind of making big bucks. Didn't love the job, but like the job was paying, and we were getting free internet from the job during the time that Sock worked there, because because they paid for all of their remote workers to have internet, which was great. But yeah, so Sock had a bunch of savings and quit. Bill was working only part-time, but was really frugal and like good with money, would only shop at Aldi, didn't go out at all. To this day, I've never seen Bill go on a date. I get it. Yeah. But I've never seen Bill go on a date. I have never even seen Bill go out with friends, really. Like, Bill's kind of an introvert, kind of keeps to himself, and doesn't have opportunities to spend a lot of money, really. Like maybe like $2 here or there, but like is very conscious with money. So even though they were only working part-time, he also had savings to fall back on. So both of them knew they could live for probably like 3-4 months on savings only. So they both quit around the same time. And we were in a 3-bedroom apartment with 1 bathroom, which means the unemployed elements of the house can use the bathroom whenever they want. Me, I work from home. I have breaks and a lunch break. There are maybe 4 times a day I can use the bathroom. And if
shower.
And if you're in there using the shower, during my break, which again happens at the same time every day, then it's kind of inconvenient for me because it means I can't do it.
And what's even more egregious is when Sock's boyfriend, Joe, we'd mentioned with the dyed red hair. Guess where Joe dyed his hair red? Was it A, at his own apartment, B, at a salon, or C, in the bathroom at Jay's apartment when she had to go to the bathroom? A place, again, Joe does not live. If you guessed C, you would be 100% correct.
Egregious. And so
I'm the dye in the tub.
Yeah.
What's wrong with you? You don't even live there.
And so I'm just constantly like, I leave my room, look and see the bathroom door is closed and the light is on, and I just want to kill myself, just want to throw myself out the window.
Also, just for perspective, we also live in a 3-bedroom now, but it has 2 bathrooms. So
It's really 2.5 bedrooms. It's like 2 bedrooms and an office.
but the
At
office
least
is
that's the way we use it.
yeah, the office is the same size as the other bedroom. Well, my bedroom's a little bit bigger, but then the other 2 bedrooms are the same size.
Raising the bourgeois.
Yeah.
She's got the master.
I just wanted the big closet. But yeah, so like my landlord won't even sell this place as a 3-bedroom because apparently people have had problems fighting over the bathrooms. Because even with just 2 people, it can get really
The thing
inconvenient.
is,
It
you-
can get so inconvenient.
You need 1 toilet per resident.
ass, yeah.
Yeah. 1 toilet per resident. Because if you don't, in this case, I assume it's a little bit less problematic because there's at least 2 showers. So it's like if one person's showering, you can still use the other bathroom if you're loose with the bathrooms.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was super fucked up and egregious. And once upon a time when we still liked each other, they would like message the group chat like, oh, I'm about to shower. Does anyone need to use the bathroom first? That fell by the wayside pretty quickly because 1, it's a little unsustainable, and 2, at a certain point they decided they didn't give a fuck, because I was the only person it was inconveniencing. So
Yeah.
and they cared for me less than they cared for each other. So
Speaking of them caring for you less than each other, let's get into what I think might be the most insane. No, you know what? The second most insane transgression, which is the fork. Actually, let's build up to the worst. We started with the least worst. Let's build up to the worst. I think the second least worst is the mattress situation. So Jay moves in, is waiting to get a bed, quickly realizes this living situation is unsustainable and moving a mattress into the apartment is not going to be worth the work and the money, because it's not a convenient apartment to move furniture into. It's actually insanely difficult. The shape of it is not
shape of it is
convenient.
weird. We had stairs inside the apartment, and at that point I'm like, they're not gonna help me. You know?
But so she had borrowed Bill's air mattress. Bill said it was cool.
Bill was like, oh, you don't have a bed yet? Please use my air mattress. It's like it's a self-inflating mattress. It's a queen size. I'm not using it. I don't need it. Use it as long as you need to until you get like a new mattress or whatever. And so I borrow it. I use it. I actually stopped using it in January or so. So I used it for like a couple months. But towards the end of our stay as roommates, Bill sends me a 3-paragraph text.
Which is absurd on its face, considering you live in the same apartment and Bill could just knock on your door and ask you about it.
Now, that being said, that Bill could have asked me. The thing is, Bill doesn't do and this was part of the problem with living with them, was they would not talk to me about anything until they had already built it up in their heads.
Yeah.
Right? So like it was never the question was never asked. Mm-hmm. Intent was assumed, and then they would go based off that and give you your give you their tirade, as the first time they're mentioning it to you. And let me give you guys a communication tip.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't be like Bill and Sock.
If you're starting to think negatively towards somebody that you need to associate with, you need to bring it up when it's small. When you still have the capacity to assume that there are other reasons they could be doing something that you think is hurting you, right? For example, in this case, it was like, I've borrowed an item of yours that you did not give me a time frame that you needed it back in.
Mm-hmm.
You have never requested to use it for any other purpose. You have never brought it up since the day I borrowed it, right? If in your mind you think this person is going to use it for a set period of time and then give it back autonomously, okay, then what a normal person who is good at communication would do is say, hey, do you still need that thing I loaned you? Because
I need it back.
I need it back. Or like, I don't want to put you out or anything, but I think I'm gonna need to use it, soon. So are you in a position where you can give it back? Right? That's what a normal person would do. Instead, Bill waits a year, and it's kind of unwieldy. So even after I stopped using it, I still had it in my room.
Yeah.
And
part of the reason you stopped using it was because after
there was like a malfunction.
it stopped inflating itself.
It stopped,
which
like,
is
yeah.
common. Air mattresses suck dick. They don't last forever. Like,
yeah. So I was
it
like,
doesn't necessarily mean you popped it or whatever. It just stopped working.
there was something wrong with the like self-inflate function. It wasn't that and so it deflated gradually, and then like it wasn't usable anymore. And so at that time, I was like, I'm just gonna buy a new one. Mm-hmm. I knew at that time that I was going to buy a new one for the person who loaned it to me, and I always knew that. I didn't mention it because I was like, I don't know when I'm going to be getting around to this, and I don't want to like distress you or anything about it. Up until that point, if it needs to happen sooner, I can make it happen sooner. But ultimately, I'm just going to buy you a new one and then give it back to you. I figured I would just give it back when, it was time to like leave the apartment or whatever. Cause again, this person has had no indication that they needed it back. So instead, he sends me a 3-paragraph text saying like, I feel like you have, taken advantage of my kindness, and by like, not returning this. And it was like a new item when I lent it to you. So I know that you probably used it because you didn't have the money to buy a new one, but I'm kind of expecting to be compensated for a new item. So however you can swing that. And at that point, I had already bought the new one. It was on the way. And so I don't even give this response the time of day. I'm like, yeah, I already bought you a new mattress and it should be here by the end of the week. So whatever.
Yeah.
But that's kind of how all conversations with them would go, was like one of them would have a problem, build it up in their head, and instead of talking to me about it, would kind of unleash their wrath. And then I'm just like, I could come back at you with the same energy in kind and be like, why can't you voice your feelings when you feel them, instead of letting them build up and then like having this unrealistic, just insane rant at me, like once you've already decided it's a problem. Mm-hmm. But I'm really good at holding my tongue. And another instance where I held my tongue.
Sock's mom came for a visit and transgressed upon you.
Okay, so up until this point, you guys, Sock is, what I usually refer to as demon number 1, or the less egregious demon. And that's because Sock and I have a past history with each other. I have goodwill.
Not anymore.
Sock had to wear down my goodwill, whereas Bill didn't really have any to begin with. So Bill was just dipping into the negatives as soon as shit started to hit the fan. Yeah. Sock, on the other hand, was, it was like, I know you, right? And so I can kind of work with this. But Sock's most egregious action. So I mentioned before, Sock's mom lives in Trinidad and Barbados. And Sock's mother came to visit us, and they were running low on forks for some reason, like silverware forks, and probably because we have a house with 3 regular people in it, and occasionally more.
Joe.
Occasionally Joe. At this point, the mom, whatever. You know, like we have a lot of people in this house,
And like 4 forks total or some shit like that.
and for some reason, not enough forks. And so they were, and again, we have a dishwasher. I'm sure they were running low on forks for a while. But at this point in time, I just got home from being at a library or something. I get back.
Yeah, that's what it was. You went to the library.
I remember I went to the library. I was doing some work. I was balancing my books. I was on my shit. And I get home and I'm trying to take a nap. And I'm laying down, I'm taking a nap, and I'm so like exhausted and sore because I haven't eaten in like a week at this point. And I hear a knock at my door, which never happens because the demons have never approached me like that. They both have my cell phone number and can text me if they have any issues. But instead I get a knock on the door, and I put on clothes because I'm napping, you know, I'm like not dressed. I put on clothes and I peek out. It is not either of the demons. It is Sock's mom, who is visiting from Barbados, who Sock has made a stew for or some sort of dinner for. And she is there to tell me that they're missing some forks, that they're very special forks, and they would like them back, please, right now.
That is a war criminal. That is an act of war. That is a terrorism against you as a person.
That's
you
when
sent
shit
your
really started to
damn
hit the fan.
mom to come knocking on your door asking for forks when they could simply run the dishwasher.
1, they could have run the dishwasher. 2, I just want to clarify here. If I had every fork in the house, this would be a different story. I had 2 forks
That you used that day.
that I had used that day. And like I don't know, they were still in like the bowl or whatever. I like used them and then immediately left to go to the library or something like that. So I didn't like immediately put them back in the dishwasher. So but like that's how many forks they're short or whatever for their fucking family dinner. And so what I have to do, again, groggy from a nap that I was just taking, is grab these 2 forks, go into the kitchen where they were all sitting around a small dining table, and wash the forks there in front of them while they're quietly
Chatting. Like you were their damn slave.
Like I was their slave. And then when the forks were clean, I just dropped them off and left. They not
a thank you. Nary a thank you.
Nary a thank you. Nary a, yeah, I made this vat of food.
Would you
It
like
has nothing to do with you,
Yeah.
though. Fuck you. Goodbye.
Yeah.
You know? Also, it was like they could have used spoons. I gotta be honest with you. Like
That was a soup.
they
They made a soup and asked for forks.
the food that they made, they could have used spoons, but that's none of my business. Whatever. Apparently, that's none of my business because I was not.
you were not
I was not
invited.
invited into a party happening in my own home. So,
Which is wild because it was like a house dinner.
everyone in the house was there except for me because I was just being their scullery maid for the night. So that was just there's so many ways they could have, like, you could have texted me or even called me. Sock is the one I knew better. Like, if Sock had been like, hey man, this is an emergency. We don't have any forks and my mom is here. I really don't want to like tell her we don't have enough forks in the house. If you could just like come drop some forks off, like if you have any in your room, that'd be great. Nope. Sends their mother to talk to. I've never met this woman.
So
Never.
awful.
And she's really giving like
Bitch.
She's really giving like black woman scolding her child energy. When she, like, I had flashbacks to my own mother yelling at me when this happened.
And your mom could be scary.
My mother is frightening
Until she
but
found
it's-
Jesus. Now she's less.
Yeah, she's less frightening now that she's found religion. But my mother is frightening. This was worse because this was not your typical American mother. This was a Barbados mom.
She is an island mom.
She was an islander mom. She's a Caribbean mom. Like,
Damn.
I was shaking. So that was egregious. But by far the most egregious and kind of the most simple. We all had split up the bills or whatever. Like, again, the housemate Sock had the control over the Wi-Fi because, again, Sock's work used to pay for the Wi-Fi, so it just made sense
Yeah.
that the Wi-Fi was in their name. And then Bill, it was kind of a toss-up on whether this went to me or Bill.
Mhm.
But I was like, okay, Bill can do it. Bill's probably more responsible than me. Nope. But Bill had control of the utilities. And so, you know, as most people do bills when they have multiple people in their house, it's like,
Bill was in charge of the bills.
you get the bill.
Bills.
Bills. You get the bill, and then you charge the other folks for what they owe you for paying the bill.
Yeah, I've always been the person who had the utilities in their name. I still am. And it's always like, I get the bill, I look at the bill, and then
You do a little bit of math, and then you
charge.
charge it.
Because usually what happens for me is it comes right out of my bank account, and then I do the math, and then I've already paid it, but I'm asking you for the
Yeah,
reimbursement, right? Yeah. That's still
So
how it is, but
Bill gets the utilities, and
Jesus, I'm sorry. This is the worst transcript. This is the worst story.
because the other ones were disrespectful. This one fucked me in my wallet, okay? Which is unforgivable. This is what really cemented my hate. I mean, at this point, to put this into perspective, they stopped speaking to me in early March. In that they would just no longer acknowledge my presence.
And
in
by
the
that
house.
point, we had already decided to move in together.
We had already decided to move in together, which was good because it's not really like I could have moved it by myself, and
It's too expensive to live alone.
too expensive to live alone, and like they really interrogate you, and I have terrible credit. And I like, again, my parents, the situation between myself and my parents are like mid, and I don't know. I have business in Chicago for various reasons, and it just would have been demoralizing to me to have to move back home at my big age, you know? So
I mean, it's not like you got jobs, but you've also got
I have
things
jobs,
in
but
the
like
works.
I have the thing
that
is
require you to be in Chicago.
I have most of my side jobs require me to be in Chicago.
But you also got, sorry, I'm not trying to give too much information away about you, but I mean, there's also this job that right now they're just dragging their feet and getting some paperwork done, but it's a real, like a big girl
theoretically,
job. Yeah.
theoretically. I don't know. They might have ghosted me, but
All
like,
right, well, if you're listening to this and you have job opportunities for computer science majors in the Chicago area or virtually, let us know.
send us your inquiries.
Or if you see something on LinkedIn, you see something on Monster, you're perusing what's the Indeed, send it our way.
Send it our way, especially if it's data analysis. Anyway, so Bill is doing the utilities, and it's fine for the first couple months we live there. It's, at the end of the month we get the bill, we do the Venmo, it is what it is. I'm putting aside money for this, but by the time those requests stop coming,
I remember you telling me this you were like, I have not paid
like,
utilities in a while. I don't know what's going on.
I called Ray and I was like, he hasn't been charging me for utilities in like a month or two. And I'm not sure and at that time I was just holding on to it. And I'm like, I'm not sure if this is like, if he just forgot or if this is some plot, because at this point the relations between us all had deteriorated massively.
Yeah.
This is after Momgate. This is after I don't trust either of them for shit. You know, and they've been colluding the whole time. I know they talk to each other every day. I'm still getting charged for the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, whatever's going on,
And
I'm
Wi-Fi
sure.
was in Sock's name.
So yeah, so
Oh,
Sock was doing the Wi-Fi, you know, and it was whatever, it was pretty cheap, but and so I'm like, there's gotta be something going on. Like they've got to be colluding on something. Maybe they're trying to trap me in some way. I don't know, but like at this point, I'm so like fucked up about like what's going on with this situation that I'm like I'm conspiracy theorizing. Like I'm like something's got to be happening, and it's you know, whatever. And time goes by. At the beginning of June, Bill sends a message to the group chat.
Bill sends a hate crime to the group chat.
Bill sends a hate crime saying that he hasn't been paying the utility bill for the last several months.
And wait until you hear the reason. And when she called me immediately after this message was...
As soon as I got the text, I'm pretty sure. Because again, it was a text. I
it was
wasn't
as soon as you got
I wasn't
the text,
speaking
yeah.
to them. I think we might have already been on the phone when I received it or something like that. But as soon as I got the text, I'm like, you will not believe how...
No, you called me because I remember you left me a voicemail and you were like, you need to call me back right now. It's
I'm
an emergency."
homicidal.
Yeah, you were
I'm like, you need to call me back, or I'm about to, you need to call me back, or I'm going to commit a crime. I'm going to commit a crime in my house right now. It is going to be messy, and if you don't want that to happen, I need you to call me back.
Yeah, but anyway, so again, the reason Bill had not been paying the bills, and I named him Bill intentionally for the story because it is the most heinous war crime I've ever heard of.
Yeah.
Tell him why.
He said, I've been in an executive dysfunction about it for the last couple of months.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't pay our bills. I'm literally neurodivergent and a minor.
Like, he's not a minor, but that's the joke. It's just for the meme, but he's not a minor. But like, I'm like, you're literally okay. So every time you have gotten on my ass for something that is clearly because of ADHD, you're like, whatever, that doesn't matter. I'm still gonna complain about it. But you cannot pay the bills
Literally
for 4 or 5 months and then be like, oops, I'm just neurodivergent. Lol.
Sorry, I was just too R-worded those months. Like, Oopsie.
and like I guess like it's like I'm not sure what the word you're looking for is executive dysfunction. I think the word you're looking for is guilt over not having paid the bills in months.
right. Well, the word you're looking for is broke, motherfucker. Why have you not been? But then
That's the other thing too, is like he's unemployed, so I don't know how much of this is like, oh, like I panicked because I hadn't paid it in a while and I didn't have the money to like front it again or whatever, and how much of it is like, I'm just unemployed and I ran out of money and I don't know how to tell you guys that I ran out of money.
Yeah.
You know?
But let's discuss the egregious ask of the message.
Yes. Because
There's a preliminary one and then a more recent one that we're going to get into in a minute.
so what had happened was Bill at this point was like, okay, so we have accrued over the months that Bill had not been paying the rent, or not the rent, the utilities. We have accrued over $1,000
Which is so great.
in electric and gas, which how did they not shut us off? Because the thing is, if they had shut it off, obviously we would have found out Bill was lying to us
Yeah.
way sooner.
Which is crazy to me because in Chicago, they can't shut your water off. The water is free.
This was
now.
electricity and
But
gas.
electricity and gas, absolutely they can shut that off. There's
they
no
let
ordinance
him-
against that.
And so I'm kind of like, were you like baby paying it? Were you like sending them little $30 payment? Because again, he has not been upfront with any of this. I have not seen a single bill
Yeah.
from this entire interaction. I've just kind of been going based off of, I'm sure you're not lying to both of us.
Yeah.
Because you like sock, you know. But Bill basically comes and says, okay, I gotta come clean. We have like we're like $1,000 in debt to the utility company right now. And
People's gas, I'm so sorry. Do you take payments in sex?
and I'm gonna need you both to pay about like, 2.5, 3 times what we normally pay for utilities right now. And so I see this text and I give myself a little bit to calm down. I'm like, because Bill, every time I have an issue with Bill's like, you're not a good communicator. I'm like,
Which is insane because Bill, you didn't pay
to be
the
honest,
utilities.
Bill, speaking of communication, for your own health and safety, never speak to me again because you lied about paying our utilities for 4 to 5 months. So speaking of communication, I never want to hear from you because
Bill,
anything you could say to me, anything you could say to me, just think about the fact that you lied about paying our bills for 4 to 5 months.
Bill,
and I am being magnanimous by not slapping the shit out of you,
Bill,
about it.
The communication you should be focused on is communicating a bullet of a gun into the center of your brain. You fucking piece of shit.
Go out back and do what's right.
But I get that because my shitty roommate I had a year ago, she was just the worst person in the world and she would get on my ass about every little thing, but she was also a terrible, atrocious roommate. And one time she texted me and said, hey, and that was always her thing. Hey, could you clean out the cauliflower you left in the sink? Because I made cauliflower wings and then I went on vacation. And I guess I didn't clean out the drain thing, right? Mm-hmm. It was one piece of cauliflower. I got home before she was there, and I saw the text. I got home, I was like, okay, I'll clean it out, whatever, it must be really bad. One piece of cauliflower. And I texted her back and I was like, hey, could you clean out your shit stained panties from our shared garbage bathroom? Because I don't give a fuck if you have IBS. You pooped your pants and threw those disgusting shit stained underwear in our shared garbage bathroom, our bathroom garbage, and left it there. And then a week later, you threw up on yourself, took your throw up shirt off, threw it away in our shared bathroom garbage, and left it there to stink up the room. You fucking menace to society. You terrorist. You war criminal. I hope you get run over by a car. Fucking hell. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, and it's just like, again, my biggest problem was like, my threshold for this type of stuff is like, you can do something really egregious to me and I'm not going to bring it up with you. I'm not going to verbally spar with you because I value keeping the peace more than I value saying my piece.
Saying my piece,
right? I don't need to say my 2 cents. These people did not have that reservation, that qualm. They would come up to me and say some fucked up shit about like how they were so disappointed or whatever, and how they really were like, they just felt like they weren't being communicated with. I had that thrown at me many times, and I'm like,
which is like, what was the lack of communication?
What do you mean the lack of communication? That you made something up in your head and then decided to wait 2 months to bring it up to me, and then are mad that I didn't preemptively read your mind? Go fuck yourself. Like,
and like it's the petty bullshit that was like hair on the floor. It's
or like I saw a single wrapper on the counter of the kitchen. I'm like, 3 people live here. You don't know it's me. You just like each other more than you like me. And so like there was one time we had a house meeting and there was some like,
I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off because we're already at an hour 15. So I think we should finish with the story.
This is really quick, to be honest. So it's kind of contextual.
Okay, I'm sorry, my bad.
Like there was this one moment where we were talking as a house unit or whatever, and
yeah, house meeting.
They were listing off their complaints about me. One of them was that there was like mail on the counter that had been there for several weeks. It wasn't me. It was socks. and they blame one of them included it in their tirade, and I was like, you literally are just blaming me for everything you don't like because you're assuming that it comes from me. And Sock was like, actually, that's fair. That is my fault that is there. And this bitch just attributed it to you for no reason. So that was the environment that I was dealing with. And I just can't,
they're disgusting people. Animal people.
And so
roadkill people.
So he bills us for multiple times what we're supposed to pay.
But then he comes back.
I don't
nary but a few days ago.
Yes. Well, I don't respond to the first one immediately because I'm like, okay, you can't be expecting me to have this on hand.
Yeah.
Right. So I'll go make some extra money and get back to you. I'll take on some extra side jobs or whatever. And he comes back at me and he's like, anyway, so when are you gonna, bitch better have my money.
I'm sorry,
you spent 4 months racking this up and you can't wait 2 weeks to find out if I'm gonna pay you? I'm going to kill you.
I'm sorry, your R-wordedness is not justification for whatever. Your executive dysfunction is not a valid reason to expect me to have on hand this money. Right,
it's just like, sorry, I spent 4 months racking up a debt. Anyway, can you give this to me now? It's like, I'll give it to you in 4 months, bitch. Yeah. What the fuck?
I'm so sorry. My executive dysfunction is flaring up. I just couldn't even read your text. I have no idea what it says. So please just give me space and time to literally manifest this.
I'm like, I should have been a bitch right back, but instead I was like, of course, because he decided to confront me with this in person. I was like, yeah, I'm working on it. I'll get it to you later. And he's like, can you do it by the end of the month? I was like, yeah, I was planning on it, but you don't have any patience.
Listen,
despite the fact that you spent months getting us into this mess.
Yeah, it's
and are now expecting me to fix it in 2 weeks.
It is entirely his fault. And I hope I run into him on the street, to be honest. But anyway, he comes back a couple days ago and does some even more egregious shit, which, and this story is also a question to the listeners. Should Jay pay? I am firmly in the category that the answer is no.
Yes. So when he messaged us initially, he gave us basically the whole amount. He was like, okay, this is how much I've paid and how much I need from you, and this is how much is left on the account. For July, suddenly that amount has gone up. And it has gone up. It's not, he's just tacking on what we, use in gas in July. No, it's gone up it has gone up by $250.
Which is crazy.
I'm in the middle of summer. I'm like, no, something is going on.
Which also, I just want to add to this because it's an important factor. You don't have central air that uses gas. You don't have that.
We don't have central air. We don't have central air. The heating has been off since May. Whenever it started getting hot in Chicago.
The only things you would be using gas for at this point are cooking and showering. So there is no reason why your gas bill in July would be higher than your gas bill when you are heating an entire fucking apartment in the winter.
I know how much the gas was in winter because I was paying it. So, I'm sitting here like, why did that number
tell them the number because it's insane.
Oh, it was 900.
900.
There's 3 of us. So it was in July, we needed to pay $900 in gas to close out the account, meaning each of us had to pay $300 something. It was $975. So we each had to pay $330 to settle this bill. It was
that's physically impossible.
How did that happen? After having already paid in the previous month, each of us had paid $240. So we had already paid
to catch up.
To catch up, we had already paid $700 something. I'm like, so you're telling me it got up to 1,600 or something like that in the time that you weren't paying this bill?
It's not possible.
Because I don't think that's the case.
Because you've already paid you've essentially fulfilled what would retroactively be the charges for the months that this moron wasn't paying it. And now they're just like, hey, yeah, July, we spent $900 in gas. What the fuck? And I strongly think that Bill owes Jay a bill. Show her the itemized list of why the gas is so fucking expensive.
Right. I'm like, because I think it's one of two things, right? Either you're lying and you're unemployed and you want more money, right?
Yeah.
Or it genuinely is that amount, but it's because you've been racking up late fees and
Which should not pay.
And you've just been incorporating them into our bills, even though you're the only reason we have to pay late fees.
It is extremely important for me that you do not be paying these late fees because it's not on you. It's not even on Sock, who I also hate. Sock shouldn't be paying late fees. You definitely shouldn't be paying late fees. But like, no, I mean, that is a disgusting thing to do. And I think that you should not pay a dime until they send you the bill.
Right. So far, I haven't paid it yet. I paid for the electric because the electric was reasonable. It was like $50. I was like, yeah, whatever. So I sent that over. But I haven't paid for the gas yet because I was like, this has gone up since the last time you told me how much I would owe in July.
But I'm
sus about it.
Honestly, my opinion on this is like, fuck the bill. Block him on everything.
No, I've moved out now, so I'm like...
Block him on everything. He can't communicate with you. He's not going to take you to small claims court. He has no money for a lawyer. He would lose. So what are you going to do?
Yeah,
at this point, I think it's block and move on. But at the
Let
very
us know,
least,
listeners. What do you think I should do?
You should all weigh in on the Patreon. You can weigh in on the comments on Spotify and Apple Podcasts or YouTube if you're listening on YouTube. We need to know moving forward. What should Jay do? Should she ask for the bill? Should she pay the bill? Should she block and move on?
Yeah.
But thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with another episode, and we'll be back right now if you're a patron getting bonus content. So if you're not a patron yet, subscribe to the Patreon.
Yeah, we're gonna watch a video and
Jubilee
react
video.
to a Jubilee video about feminism and potentially give you some Am I the Assholes? So stay tuned.
Stay tuned if you want to learn about Tony Pizza.